All right, let's go up. There we go.
All right.
All right, folks. Another
Welcome to-
exciting trailer park show, huh?
Welcome to the Trailer Park Show, folks.
You know the three of us. Dave, Nalle?
No.
Nalle.
Yeah.
Dave, Nalle, with all kinds of different people. We'll have that info up on the screen here in a minute. I know he's got plenty to say, particularly concerning, I don't know, about everything, I guess.
Whatever you need.
We first met a long time ago. We did a voters registration thing at a gun show. You remember that? That must have been 4 or 5 years ago.
I'm going to be organizing some more of those, too.
Well, kind of when you're at the gun show, you kind of sing into the crowd
True.
when it comes to voter registration, because it's hard to find somebody at the gun show that's not already registered.
But we can promote candidates. That's the other thing.
That's true. But in this case, I don't know. Oh, you paid for that anyway. It doesn't matter who paid for
The
the
gun
booth.
show's in my neighborhood now. They moved out. They moved out to Eastern Travis County at the Expo Center.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. A few things to go real quick. The opening of the VA clinic. Are we ready for that? It was good. We needed a bigger VA clinic in town. This one's about 3 times the size. I don't know if they're going to do all the procedures there. I'm struggling to get an appointment for my camera up the backside. But they're not going to send me to
Yummy.
Temple for it.
Yummy, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. There's one.
There's a Congressman McCall right there.
Yeah.
That was good. And of course, beautiful Aunt Sid. We all know who that is. I mean, that beautiful Aunt Sid, my beautiful wife. The poor guy in the middle, I guess I had to go rescue him after a while. There was a lot of people there. There was a good crowd there. I have no idea what kind of artwork that is on the roof.
What is that?
Is this
Slow down, Ma, go back.
Is
Looks
that,
like a skeleton hand.
is that the clinic?
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but it was,
Was that
Holy cow.
was that the clinic?
yeah, this is the new VA clinic. This is the grand opening ceremony.
Where is it?
It's often, if you know where Riverside and 71 meet,
Yeah.
That's where the old clinic was.
that's on Metropolis, which is
Right, but
just
about the same
west
place,
of
though.
there. Well, if instead of turning east on 71, you go straight across.
Lots
back off in
lots
there.
of open space there.
Yeah, it's back off in there on a street called Metropolis. But I believe we'll be getting it there. I had to go rescue him after. There it is. I believe they're going to change the name of the street to Veterans Way, because it is kind of confusing, Metropolis and Metropolis. Somebody did make a comment about the artwork there, because I'm not quite sure. I don't know how much it costs.
Name the center? Does it have a name already, or they're still in that process?
Yeah, man, you're going to make me think. I think so.
You don't remember?
I don't remember anybody talking about it. Now that you mention it.
They should name it after a famous Texas veteran.
Yeah, they should. They had plenty of Hispanics were out there.
Well, I knew they
Veterans.
had a process, campaign to have it named after certain individuals, so I don't, that's why I was asking if they had already done that, since they had the grand or the opening.
Yeah, I understand that it won't be long and they'll be moved in, which is probably half the reason for the confusion in getting my camera up to you-know-where.
So it's going to be strictly outpatient services.
Well, they'll be having a lot of services there that they used to have to send up to Temple for. Heart monitor, stuff like that.
So they're winning the mileage reimbursement.
10-4.
Rick Luna?
Yeah, Rick Luna. You out there, Rick? No, he always watches. Yeah. It's always
The place
something.
is massive. It's got a chemotherapy suite. It's got all the CT scanners. It's got all that stuff in there. And the only thing they don't have is like your gastrology department.
Is that my
And,
camera up the back, son?
And a couple other little things. But it's massive, and it's going to be like a full-service clinic for the vets. So, you veterans out there, go check it out. It's a huge facility, and they got everything in there. Everything that you could think of.
It's been years in the making.
It's like having a little mini hospital here without the hospital rooms.
So what are they going to do with the other facility?
The other
It was
facility
leased.
for right now, if I wasn't mistaken from what I was reading in the program, is where the women's services is at. And I think the women's services is stayed at the Montopolis location. So, but I'm not real sure. But anyways, from what I read in the thing, I think that's what they're using the old location for.
Cool.
Well, I know they have been. The number of women veterans is increasing, of course.
You would think that in a region this big, they would actually have a hospital instead of a
You would
clinic.
think so. It's a real big, nice hospital they have up in Temple, and you think, how many could they have up there?
Because how many we only have, 3 major hospitals?
Yeah.
Or veterans hospitals?
Veterans Hospital.
Yeah,
The other one's out in Kerrville,
Down in San Antonio.
and there's
Where's
one in
that?
San Antonio, one in Houston. I know they've been
That's right.
pushing hard down in the valley to get one, and they really need one there because there's a lot of veterans down there. You would think they would have a hospital here.
I mean, I'll give you a good example. Like in El Paso, my dad lives over there. He's a vet. He goes to William Beaumont over there. Not the biggest place in the world. And anything specialized that he has to do, he either has to go to Houston or go to Albuquerque. Or, depending on where the doctor is, he has to go follow that doctor.
Albuquerque's far away, so is Houston.
Well,
Yeah,
it is.
it's,
It is, but from El Paso, it's actually, Albuquerque is a lot closer than it would be to Houston.
Still not close.
It's not close. You're right.
They ought to contract out with some of the local hospitals to set up veterans clinics inside the hospital.
They do.
Yeah.
I've actually been to South Austin Hospital twice. And I know that's not cheap, so I appreciate you taxpayers looking after me like that.
They're just really
Y'all
slow.
need to get back to work.
They're just really slow to pay when it comes to
Is
the
it?
VA. Yeah.
Well, they always took me. The VA sent me there for my lung thing gets infected sometimes. So that was real nice of them. And this camera up the backside. This will be my second time. It's a place up in North Austin.
And the way you're talking about it, you seem to enjoy it. I don't know.
Oh, get out of here! I
Show
tell
your
you,
fascination there. Yeah.
Exactly.
it's not near as bad as I anticipated because it knocked you right out. And next thing you know, it's over with, and it ain't like you.
They knocked
feel
you
bad.
out for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When my dad had it done, he got to watch it on video.
Oh, well, they gave you. I brought pictures and showed them here on the show.
They just give him a local.
Wow. No, thank you.
Are we going to 10-1 or meeting?
Yeah, we're getting carried well.
We're
That's
gonna
already
keep on
just
talking
fine.
about
Plus,
Texas
we got to show the one more picture because me and you were at. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, that meeting on the education
On
summit.
education, we are. It does look like there will be a education summit coming up to help parents understand the options they have or that are offered mostly by the Republican Party, I guess. If we can get our way. That's John, Chief of Staff for State Senator Dr. Donna Campbell. And, of course, Dr. Rosemary Edwards there in the middle. And I don't know who that ugly guy is there.
Oh, yeah, guys. So we had a good meeting.
That was a good meeting.
Seems like in our discussions, we were both singing to the choir. So it's just a matter of getting logistics of how do we deliver this and how do we organize this event
Well, we
bring,
could go back just a little. This all started when we met. We were talking with Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst.
Yes, he's the one that embraced the idea of an education summit in East Austin to empower the parents so that they may be educated about the public school choice
Tim
issue.
Moore.
And that
So next session there should
next
be
session,
some.
yeah. And I think that a lot of parents, well, according to statistics, the majority of the students that are moving into charter schools are minorities. So for some reason, there's that movement already already. So with this law, if it passes, it'll assist them financially.
It's minority supported, just might pass.
Yeah, what is it? The grant? They call it the grant?
Taxpayer grant, I think it was called.
Yes, short of a voucher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A tax credit voucher?
Yeah, that one.
Didn't
It's a grant.
that's not going to pass till next session?
Right.
Yeah,
right,
it
right.
was
That's a lot-
introduced,
that's
but
a
it
lot.
didn't make it.
Yeah.
But they're starting to strategize and plant their strategy
Seeds for
right
next
now, getting ready for the next session. That was interesting. 'Cause,
Plus, they'd like to let the minorities know just who's trying to look out for them.
yeah.
It is. I mean, it's true. It's true. This is an issue that minorities in San Antonio and Houston have been fighting for years to try to improve their urban school districts. And
They know you got to educate your children to get them out of the lower income brackets.
And like he mentioned, Lieutenant Dudehurst has vested interest in the Edgewood district, school district. I think his foundation makes available scholarships to high school
Do they?
graduates from that district.
I know he does a lot of good work.
they have a lot more time to spend on it after the election.
Well,
Yeah.
You think so?
Remember we're talking
I
about
hope so.
Did you see the Texas Tribune poll?
No, but
It's polling at 10%
Wow.
as an incumbent.
Dewhurst,
Wow.
And he's already got, what's his name, running against him in our party.
Patterson.
Patterson,
and also
yeah.
Patrick.
Every time I see Jerry Patterson, he's got that pistol in his hand, so you know he's going for the good
Serious.
vote.
Yep. That and Patrick just went after him on Saturday at the conservative symposium.
Yeah, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
You remember that?
I went to that one. He just tore into him. I mean, he
We got some time. Tell us about this.
well, he tore into Dewhurst for allowing the creation of Wendy Davis, or the blowing up of Wendy Davis.
He's to blame, largely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus what he did to plus what Dewhurst did to Patrick in regards to there was some I guess some point of orders that they wanted to bring up that he just totally delayed, and then of course you have David Conman or Adam Conman,
Who's always asking some difficult questions.
yeah, and he was even pointing out some of the interest that that Dewhurst has that may cause people suspect as to why
Was
he did what
Dewhurst
he
actually
did.
there?
Yeah,
Well, he has learned a lesson at least.
but the problem that I
Yeah,
had
showing
with
up
him-
anyway, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
New for him.
The problem that I had with what he was talking about is that at the beginning he did this whole poor me. He had this poor me because they had gone to another event the night before up north, and then they got done at 9:30. He had to be in Georgetown or they got done at 1:30. Then he had to be at the symposium at 9:30, and he's like,
Sound
"Oh,
familiar?
I had
You
to
read
drive
that?
over here, and we were tired, and blah blah blah." And it's like, you know what? You're fighting for your job. And then he kept on saying, "I'm the only businessman that's running," which, he owns a business, but if he's running his business like the way he runs, his politics, then he's not very good.
Yeah, well, a lot of these guys, like Dewhurst and Abbott, are great examples of this. They got in really easily because of the situation, the way things were, 10 years ago. There's not really much opposition to them, and they never really had to run a serious campaign or do the hard work to get elected. And now they're finding they have to do it, and they don't know what to do. They can't handle it. Abbott's not doing Abbott is not doing in the gubernatorial race what Dewhurst did last time against Cruz. He doesn't go to anything, doesn't talk to anybody, and he only goes to controlled events where he has people running his crowd for him.
That makes it
Yeah,
easy.
that's like George P. Bush.
He ain't coming out to see us, is he?
Yeah, he don't need to.
He's
That's right. We try to get him out to some
Yeah.
Hispanic events.
Yeah.
he's pretty articulate. I would think he'd be all right in that environment.
Yeah, but,
Man up and go out and talk to people.
If you want to be in public office, you need to make yourself accessible to the people. If not, we go back to the king and queen.
Even the
Uh,
people down here in the
former
borough, huh?
government, no one put a gun to his head and say you have to run. Once you jump into that arena, you become public. And
Well, I know
if-
LULAC's hit him up several times, haven't they? To come
Yeah, well,
speak
not only us, numerous organizations have, and for
in the minority
and
community.
for any person to take an election for granted is
Nowadays, it's pretty bad.
Unfortunately,
well, for a democracy that we live in, it's dangerous.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
his primary opponents had kind of backed off. There's nobody really running against him.
Yeah, no. Well, I
You got
mean,
somebody
he's
right
got-
now.
he has
Even
so
Dr. Donna's got a
He's
primary opponent now.
He has so many Ben Franklins out there.
There's a whole slew of them down in San Antonio want to run against her.
Really, I thought you'd done a pretty good job.
I did too, so I don't think they can do it. But there's some San Antonio political types that are back in, where did I read this? In Texas Tribune, I think. No, my essay has an article about it. It doesn't sound like much of a threat because she is so well loved by so many.
Right. All that area north of San Antonio likes her, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's definitely the Tea Party darling and all that, so.
I didn't think she really did that much in the legislative session. But,
She tried, like this taxpayer savings grant,
yeah.
vouchers,
Yeah. But it didn't pass. That's the thing.
but she tried.
But that's not really her fault. It didn't pass.
No, it's not really her fault. We could put some of that, I think, on my buddy, the lieutenant governor, huh?
Yes.
He should have pushed that bill through a lot harder. I don't know. There's what all goes on up there. I've always been one to pretty much go for the establishment guy just because they've been there a while and they've gotten us this far, and I guess they get scared of what happens if they go away. But Ted
time to
Cruz
make a
certainly
change.
turned out to be good.
Yeah, it's time to make a change.
Well, also in government, you never want to be a monopoly up there. You
That's
just-
true.
Because that's
Get
where
some new
you-
blood in.
In certain areas or levels, that's where you have your restrictions on number of terms you can run or whatnot.
Term limits.
Term limits.
I don't really like that,
We
of
don't really
course.
have
but-
them here in
Now
Texas at all.
Which is actually kind of a nice segue to what Dave's here for.
Yeah.
When it comes to making the changes that's out there, where a lot of people are used to the establishment, and you're part of the
I'm the anti-establishment.
You're the exactly. You're part of the.
Not just to be against them because they're establishment, though, because there are people who have been in office for a long time who are good. You don't want to just write them off. I love Jerry Patterson. Jerry Patterson's been in office for a long time. He was in the House. He went on to be land commissioner. But I think he'll make a great lieutenant governor because he knows that work, and he's got experience. But at the same time, he's remained true to his values. But you have the other folks who, when they get elected, the only thing they really had going for them is that they have rich friends. That's what describes to me. That's Dewhurst.
That's
In a
Dewhurst.
nutshell, right? What political background does he have? What beliefs does he have? We don't have any idea, except that he wants to be in power and manage things and make deals with his cronies.
And get his family out of jail.
Well, that too. That's a recent development. Apparently, they all want to get their families out of jail, or influence people in some way. You heard.
At least we're not as bad as the other party.
Me as a Democrat, I like this punching.
Every individual.
Yeah, what I just said, we're not as bad as your party.
No, that's it. But
Yeah, you like to see
I
it.
enjoy this punching.
They've been doing it longer, so they're better at it.
Yeah. So
Is that it?
Republicans only recently discovered this kind of stuff.
Yeah, give us time. We'll be getting our DWIs. I would like to say that this Dewhurst thing should be a reminder of just how easily the battlefield can change. Without this, I'm sure he'd have bit 12 or 14 instead of 10. So these kind of little mistakes can really screw you up.
And I think this is a prime example of the Cruz election, a prime example of where the people, government, have the power to make changes. If we get together, go out and vote. That's a prime example.
It's really reassuring.
Yeah,
because
Cruz has done
You
great
think
things.
that having all this money will win people elections. That's what they've always figured. But Cruz had a seventh as much money, and because he had the popular support, it was multiplied to the point where he won easily. And the fact that that can happen with a good candidate
And then
is
there's
great reassurance.
Yeah, and then there's a certain percentage given just because of the surname, 5-6%, if you will, whatever. Just people don't even know who they are, but just because of the surname, they're going to vote.
The name recognition.
Legacy Hispanic type voters.
Yeah.
But I thought they didn't care for him much because he don't speak Spanish. He wouldn't debate in Spanish against Dewhurst at
And
time.
he's not a Mexican. He's a Cubano.
Cuban, but
Cuban
Dewhurst
American.
challenged him right to debate in Spanish on Univision or something. He turned it down.
But it seems like your party's been wanting to hang Dewhurst before any of that issue became an issue because
My buddy
remember
Dewhurst, my
when,
buddy,
Senator Cruz was talking about him being, minus 5% on the polls when he started or something like that?
yeah.
At the Ronald Reagan,
Oh, yeah, the one I
Yeah.
didn't make it to.
he mentioned that.
I sent him with my party girls.
So,
He escorted my party
just a matter-
girls.
it was a prime example of people who didn't have to have the backing, like you mentioned, and had either a name or the principles that everybody wanted to go for because of the whole establishment. Which
Well, Patterson certainly got a lot of support.
He's one of the most popular politicians in Texas.
Yeah.
And you should
Everybody likes him.
And the new ad they've got on the internet from the Texas Historical Commission, which is under him, is the coolest internet ad I've ever seen.
I wish we could play
is it the one they just aired out?
It's the one with the pop down and the animated stuff with the plane, and it's got the fighters at the Alamo. It's got all this cool graphics in it.
I think he
Really
aired
good.
that the other day. I think he aired that on Saturday.
And I don't know what role Patterson played in it, but I've noticed that Patterson has some of
Put it
the,
up and email it tomorrow later.
Patterson has
Put
some
it
of the best designed graphics and stuff on his website and for his brochures and stuff than anybody I've ever seen.
He didn't do those dog thing about calling the cops down there, did he? I saw that one. That's pretty funny as hell. I laughed my ass off when I saw that. You know what I'm talking about? These dog characters. It was funny as. Not to laugh at my old buddy David Dewhurst, but
Yeah.
he kind of asked for it.
Have you heard the recording?
I heard some of it. That's all I needed to
He comes
hear.
off as an ass,
He may not have broken any laws, but he sure shouldn't have.
He's very careful in it to say that he's not really trying to influence
He wasn't
people.
careful enough, or he'd have made a phone call to somebody else.
Well, he keeps dropping his name. Yeah, of course, that's what he should have done. He should have called somebody up the chain of command privately.
As if he don't know some high-powered lawyers.
Right.
He could have easily called one of them high-powered lawyers and hung up the phone and been completely.
That's right.
And he might have been at 12 or 14 instead of 10.
Or even higher.
We'll take any benefits of these campaigns for our education summit. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's true. Now he may be more interested in helping out the Hispanic community
Yeah.
to try and gain points there. Or maybe Jerry Patterson would to try and make sure he
Or
does.
what is it, the Texas Justice Foundation? Are they the the nonprofit or the profit, I'm not, LLC that's also
Texas Justice Foundation?
Texas Justice Foundation.
That's
Remember he
not one
was
of them
there?
far left-wing groups, is it?
No, remember he was there at that meeting where we were at with Lieutenant Dewhurst? That was the suit.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you get Perry
They're the ones
moments here and now, but you know, it
Perry
just,
moments, is that what you call
it
it?
just happened last week, you know.
Take more large, you know.
they're the ones that are suing Perry, right?
I think so.
Yeah, they're suing Perry over the.
Well, but I do got to have a good excuse because I got these just rubber hoses too far up my nose and not far enough. Sometimes I forget things.
Caused brain damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as it
what-
goes on, it gets worse and worse.
I've got to add something about Patterson. He's got. I got to attend the RLC event 2 years ago,
Right,
or,
right,
or a little over a year.
last year,
Yeah,
yeah.
last year's event, and he was there. And I mean, most knowledgeable, probably one of the most knowledgeable people out there when it comes to the Hispanic history in Texas. I mean, he went out there. I mean, he was talking about how everything that they're saying now, they're talking about immigration and everything else, was actually something that was going on back then. When
He's worked
Texas
really
established.
closely with the guys from the Federation of Hispanic Republicans based out of Houston, like Timo Moniz and Robert Martinez Navarro from San Antonio. I mean, they all worked. He worked really closely with them on this immigration plank in the Texas GFE platform, and which got into the national platform, and then that ass from Arizona screwed it all up. The lawyer who worked on the Arizona immigration law, but I think he's got some real credibility there.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, although the Latino community is supposed to go heavily Democratic generally, historically here in Texas, George W. Bush got 49%, and Cruz got 51%.
Senator Tower used to get a high percent, and that was
Yeah.
back in the 60s.
So
So
there's
the
nothing new
Latino
about it, huh?
community not necessarily.
It's not monolithic.
No, absolutely not. The majority of us are more independent than Yellow Dog or Republican.
Problem is Republicans haven't been able to figure out how to talk to y'all.
Yeah. Well,
I hope that's going to change.
I agree.
well
Right
we're,
here.
we're working at it. We're working
If you
at it.
treat
Yeah, we're all working at it.
if you treat minority groups like they're minority groups, I don't think it works.
No.
You need to treat them like they're just like everybody else,
you go.
and figure out what their interests
We
are.
don't need to change
and
our
figure out how you
message,
can
just
make-
need to
make
get it out there.
happen. Yeah.
Like
And
we've
it
been
seems to
doing.
me like an awful lot of Latinos are small businessmen,
Oh yeah.
and that should be something the Republican Party naturally gravitates to.
Right. Many small business.
Most of them are.
entrepreneurs.
About all
Oh,
your
yeah.
dump trucks out there are owned and operated
But of
by
course, your things
Hispanics.
like franchise taxes, thank you very much, Rick Perry, are not good for your small businesses.
Uh-oh.
And so,
Did he pass a franchise tax and I didn't even know it?
well, yeah, the gross margins tax is a franchise
Oh, yeah.
tax.
Okay.
Originally, it was ridiculous. They made it
better
better
crank this up
last
more.
session, but still, give people a break. Let them earn money.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway.
Talking
So-
about economics. Go ahead.
No, I was going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about what Dave's doing, but you had something about
Well, I was thinking, as part of the whole discussion in economics and the benefits of the economics, hopefully maybe next session, and I don't know what your opinion is on the driver's license for undocumented. I think that
I
in
think that's
itself
for
is
me
an
and Dale.
economic
Wait, whose
boost.
bill was that? That was Patterson's, wasn't it?
Well,
I
I
know
know
Patterson,
Alonso,
Patterson proposed it, but somebody else was
I know Alonso out
back
of
it.
Dallas in the House submitted the bill.
Patterson was backing it, I believe.
And then, what's his name?
I got in all the trouble for supporting Workman two cycles ago.
Well,
Workman
if
was
we
supporting it.
did that, it would solve a lot of the problems that the federal government is having with immigration.
Duh.
It seems like a no-brainer to people like me and you, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, if anything,
But
from
we
the,
live in Texas and we have some idea what's
from
going on.
the,
People in
insurance-
Washington have no idea what's going on.
from the insurance industry, you would think they'd be up at Capitol lobbying back and forth. I mean, you're talking
think
about
so?
millions.
Yeah.
We
But
have
it's interesting that, and you'll see advertised at the insurance agencies, get insurance without a driver's license.
yeah.
Really?
Yes,
That's right.
absolutely.
It's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go, so I went just to find out, right? And basically, if a vehicle has a current license, insurance,
You can extend that insurance.
well, you can purchase a separate insurance with no license and cover this one because this one already has insurance.
My insurance company has never asked me if I have
So-
a driver's license.
Just the VIN number is all they've ever asked me
At all.
for.
They just want the VIN number and my name and stuff. I don't care if I have a driver's
$40 or
license.
$50 a month.
Yeah, they want that
In fact, my
money.
mom has a car and she's blind. She can't drive and doesn't have
Still
a
got a
license.
car?
But she's got insurance on it.
That way other people can drive it, I guess, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like this guy over there at Ben-Hur went to go vote, blind guy went to go vote, and you know how we're all accustomed to reviewing the ID and say, well, here's your driver's license back.
Yeah.
So he goes through the first line and says, "Okay, sir, here's your driver's license." He says, "Ma'am, I can't drive. That's not my driver's
Is that my driver's license? Huh?
And he laughed, right? So as he goes down the line, the combo, the last person, yeah, "Okay, sir, here's your driver's license." He said, "I keep telling you I can't drive." And then everybody snaps and said, "Well, that's true. It's an ID. It's not a driver's license."
Didn't they make the driver's license, the IDs, aren't they vertical now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that make it easier to tell.
This guy had one of them old school ones.
It's another thing I'd like to talk about is they're going to fight our voter ID law here again.
Well, y'all gonna do it, right? Abbott's gonna do it, or well, we know it's gonna happen because Dana had a.
I'm still trying to
we're
get hold of
trying to
Dana
get Dana
Bois
on
to
the
get her
show
down here to talk about it.
To talk about the implementation of the ID law here in Texas for the November election.
Yeah, coming up this
Coming
November.
up, the
So
state constitution.
Oh, we're supposed to have it already? This
Yes.
November?
Yes.
this November
Wow.
for
Yes.
I'm gonna be an election judge. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, because she had a work session. Like a workshop. When was it? About a month ago.
Yeah,
Dana called one for all the election judges and precinct. Well, mostly precinct chairs. Yeah. So
I didn't make it. I'm getting to be less and less of these things.
I didn't either, but we've been wanting. That's why we want to have her come on the show.
Sweet.
And
Well, how do you feel about it?
how do I feel about
Yeah.
it personally? Well, having been on the beat, on the ground, if you will, the majority of the people that come to vote, the first thing they present to us is an ID, and that's not the protocol. The protocol is your voter registration card.
Yeah.
So I don't see it that big of a change. Now, the only thing, the argument that I've heard very profoundly from our party is the cost, and the cost being a poll tax, if you will. But like I mentioned, in Mexico, you have like an old library mobile. I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
those days. And they go into the
They
neighborhood.
still do it.
They still do it, and it's free. So if we can do something like that, I mean, I
Well,
don't see why there should be a problem.
Isn't it in the bill
Why
they
it
already
is a
have something
problem.
where
I
you
think
can
it's a
get you
benefit.
can get an ID for free?
I think you fill out a thing showing that you don't have money.
Correct.
Hardship
and
or
then you get it
whatever.
for free.
Well,
The only
but-
thing that's going to cost is that you have to have a birth certificate.
Okay.
But you need to have a birth certificate and virtually everything you have to do when it comes to
$25,
applying for government
$50.
assistance. Okay, so what's the harm in that? You need
So
to
how
have
do
it.
they get government assistance without one?
You can also now. Here's the kicker.
Hey, I had. Let me go ahead.
I will
know
go ahead
that
and
they're
add this
there.
one. I will go ahead and add one more thing, and I will use the Medicaid offices as an example. All state Medicaid offices have a database per state where they can verify the authenticity of a person who was born in that particular state. If they want to apply for assistance, they can say, "Hey, I was born here. This is the county I was born in, or the city I was born in." They just punch up whatever information. Each state has that database, and I believe the Social Security office is also attached to that database to some degree. The only thing is that every state is not connected to every other state. So, for example, if you have a person who lives in Texas that was born in El Paso, comes over here and doesn't have his birth certificate and applies for assistance, they can use that database. I don't see why not the state government can go ahead and use that database to verify. The problem that comes up is those people that live out of state. They're going to have to get some type of form or get some type of verification from the state.
Right.
In that regard, but it goes back to the whole premise.
But in most states, you can go on their website and you can order that. When we had the Obama controversy, that green one that he got from Hawaii, you can order that on the internet.
On the internet. Yeah.
And they'll send it to you in the mail, and it takes a couple days.
Yeah. And it's
Get 2 or 3 of them. Huh?
Well, again, and yeah, it is accessible to those means. My point is the cost.
well, they need to have it eventually.
Right. But what I'm saying is that I think that in the long run, if we implemented it this way, then you'll get rid of those other issues that. these
Are
people
you
talking about.
speaking with your LULAC hat on, or is this just Gavito?
LULAC.
And that's what the problem
That's
is.
their policy
Okay,
type?
it's a $25 inconvenience, quote unquote inconvenience, on something that you need to have
I
eventually.
understand that. I understand.
So what's the point of what's the harm?
But,
in that?
Yeah.
there's people out there in reality life that those $25-$30,
That's a lot of money.
that's a
You're right.
big
That-
chunk
that's
coming
a
out
big-
of your
that's a big
pocket
chunk.
when you have children and you have to feed and the whole 9 yards.
And I'm not.
Or if you're elderly or
and I
getting
will
older
never-
and
I
getting
will never
invalid.
deny that
And-
part. However,
and if I like drinking, I'd rather spend those 25 on a 12-pack or something else rather than try to go get a birthday.
Well, then we'd rather have you not vote anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
We don't want you
vote
voting
drunk.
drunk.
Exactly. you might vote Republican instead of Democrat.
Yeah, there you go. Get confused.
We
But no,
already,
that's the thing. My position on the ID, because
I think we've talked about this show, on this show, that, what was it, 2 or 3 sessions? We spent a whole session just on this darn issue,
Yeah.
on the ID, and just a waste of our time, you know. But I think if you eliminate that, the cost factor, I think it's a benefit, I think.
I do too. We do have plenty of cases of voter fraud, including right here in Texas. So why not?
Working as an election judge, I've seen all sorts of suspects things go on.
You've been election judge now for about ever too,
For a
huh?
long time, yeah.
So has Gavino.
And I work on centralized counting and that kind of stuff too. And there are, voter registration cards out there floating around with no people to go with them, and somebody's got them. And I've seen a stack that big that were all delivered to the wrong address because people had registered and then moved, and somebody could get a hold of those easily.
I like those change addresses that come in all the time. Kind of makes you wonder there.
Yeah.
I had to go to the receiving station judge because I can't stay up all day to be a poll judge anymore.
It's interesting that if you get locked up, you get a free ID.
Is that
But
right?
If you want to vote, you can't get a free ID.
Yeah, you get locked up, you get a lot of stuff for free.
I
Oh,
know
no,
that's what
all
I'm
I got
saying.
was,
It's not worth it.
That's what I'm saying, That's what I'm saying. There's something wrong here.
I guess I ain't been locked up in a while now, but they didn't give me no ID when I got locked up. I guess I didn't get locked up for very long, huh?
You get locked up, the state spend $50,000 of our dollars on taking care of you.
Oh, Lord. Well, you're already almost spending that much on me anyway, so.
Look at William Brown.
But now you're out here being productive.
Yeah, I'd have never thought all them years ago washing them pots and pans,
Outrageous.
Yeah.
they would come out like this. Wait, I did want to touch, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's go ahead and get back with
Mr. Dave here.
Dave and the stuff that he's doing. I mean, he's got some significant stuff going on.
He is, and we were going to talk about the outreach because I got another thing I got in trouble with was mounting off about the Ron Paul coup from last cycle. Well, actually, they were doing just what I told them to do: get involved in the party.
You told the right thing.
Yeah, and they did it, and then I didn't like it. No, it was good.
We need to get your friend on the show as well.
Which one? Oh, Ronnie, we proceed?
Yes.
I got his phone number now,
Yes,
brother. No, we
yes.
Is
can't.
he still around?
Oh, yeah, if you ever not, I got his phone number.
Get him on, have Robert Moore on the same show. You'll have
There you
lots of fun.
He's
Lord.
That might
so are
make
you
a good show.
So, Dave, are you still part of the
RLC?
RLC?
Yeah, I'm the South Central Regional Director for the RLC. After being voted out as chairman because I was willing to do things.
I remember that one.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
seem
wow.
to have your own controversy within that party.
Yeah, I have my own style. They wanted to go more professional or something. I don't know.
I prefer yours to
Fancy.
theirs.
Yeah.
Nothing
But
personally,
this
you
gives me the
understand.
opportunity to go out and do a lot of other stuff that I wouldn't do otherwise. Talk to people, make speeches, talk to people, write stuff. Got a column in the Washington Times now, and I get to go out and I went down to the Federation of Hispanic Republicans had this big get together in Houston this weekend. I got to go down there and talk to them on a panel, and they had Steve Ministerio was there, a bunch of local politicians, people running for office, and it was fascinating. These are young Hispanic folks. They're some of them are really young, like teenagers, going up to maybe 30, 35 years old. Republicans, very active politically, with some really great ideas. Ways to get the Republican Party more involved in the Hispanic community and win some friends. Very inspiring. And I'm glad I got a chance to talk to them about how the problems that we have with the Liberty folks, or Ron Paul folks, as you say, are kind of similar to the problems that we have with Hispanic people in the Republican Party. The party establishment, and actually the party establishment probably doesn't like you all that much either. The party establishment doesn't really understand that they got to open up a little bit if they want to, get the party more functional. They want to get it to do stuff. They got to have people to do that stuff, and those people may have to be a little bit different from what they're used to, which might be people who are a little more libertarian because that's the way most of the younger folks in the country are trending. At least on the social issues, maybe lay off the gay marriage stuff a little bit. Maybe like
Not be so hip on everybody smoking pot.
well, Rand Paul has a solution to that question, which is not to push for legalizing pot, leave it up to the states, but what he's pushing for is getting rid of mandatory minimum sentencing, because that's what creates the real problem. The real fallout that hurts society from marijuana, the worst thing that happens, is all these people getting sent to jail forever for endless, huge
Just smoking
sentences.
pot, yeah.
We're
They're not like the crackheads or nothing.
we're 30% over capacity here in Texas.
Except Willie Nelson.
Well, Willie has his own
Except
going on.
Willie Nelson.
Oh, well, it doesn't. You got away with it,
Willie
huh?
Nelson, that's
Well,
all.
he's got his prescription.
Well, that's another problem. If you got a lawyer,
Yeah.
enough money, you're not going to go to jail on these things. But we were on William Brown, the case of William Brown, and that wasn't pot, that was crack.
Right.
I think it was crack or meth. Well, one of
Meth.
the things.
It was meth.
But you know, he got caught for possession for less than an ounce. He got sent away for what was it, 50 years, of which
Well, he had more than-
served 17.
He had more on his record than that. Then was it crank or?
Well, it was
No,
some-
no, there was
some
probably
drug.
there was some stuff
Well,
Well,
out
the
there.
problem is, I mean, he's a perfectly. I mean, we know him. He's a reasonable guy. He could be put to much more use than being put in prison. You know, you put him out in some sort of rehab program, get him a job. You know, figure out some way to make him be productive. They're not doing any good for anybody in prison. All they're doing is consuming our money. So get him out of there if you can. Of course, my representative, of course, is Donna Dukes, who is a consultant for Wackenhut.
She may be down here on the 16th. She's had an accident, you know.
Well, ask her, what did you have an accident? What kind of?
She's, I don't know, I think it was automotive, and so she's been hurt, so they'll get back to me later on if she'll be down here or not. She actually heals up by the 16th.
Well, she, of course, works, she's a state legislator, but she works as a consultant for Wackenhut. Now, if that's not a conflict of
convenient.
interest, I've never heard of one.
Yeah, that's real convenient.
And so those folks, people like her, they don't want us to, you know, get rid of minimum sentencing because they want everybody to be in jail so they can build more jails so Wackenhut can run them all for them.
Money.
That's crony capitalism at its worst. I'd like to see that kind of stuff stopped.
I have to admit that I get tired every time the cops pull somebody over. You see them looking in the back seat. They're looking to make money off. I guess all they want to do is get dope.
Well, I'll never
Yeah.
forget Ann Richards celebrating the fact that she passed legislation to build 4, 5, 6 more penitentiaries.
That was one of your party.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
That's
You
right.
know, like,
You don't need to build more penitentiaries unless you want to put more people in jail.
And then they become concerned that they're going to be layoffs in the jail. So, you know,
We've had our good times here.
Fill them up.
Yeah, and it's been a couple of years, but at Seagoville, I think it was. And so I got out and filmed it, and I'm standing in front of the sign that says Seagoville, City of the Future. And then when you pan out, it's a big prison right behind it. Only in the trailer park you get stuff like that. Remember that, Bo? That's funny as everything. City of the Future, Opportunity for the Future, or something like this. It was some kind of.
We have more
anyway.
people incarcerated in America than any other country does, percentage-wise.
That's
Like way
true.
more even than Red China, where they throw people in jail for nothing. If we're just saying, you know, spitting on the sidewalk or saying something bad about the chairman.
Was it 14 million or 20 somewhere? I remember seeing a flash.
I
It
can't
was
remember-
high.
I can't remember the
It
number
was-
off the top of my
it
head,
was
but
14
and
or
the
24 million.
numbers among
It's a lot of money.
Black population in particular
24
are
million.
crazy.
That's what it was. 24 million people are incarcerated in the United States.
Right, and if you're concerned about abortions, for example, right,
That's
which
a
a lot of
big
Republicans are concerned about
business.
abortion, one of the reasons why you have so many abortions is you got these black women getting pregnant, their husband goes to jail, they can't raise the child, and they choose to have an abortion.
Get an abortion.
You know, keep these men out of jail, keep them functional in society somehow, and you would prevent a lot of the stuff that goes on. A lot of the kids growing up without parents who join gangs, that stuff would all go way down.
Yeah,
Plus,
okay.
there's got to be, and we've talked about it before about one of the situations that I encountered in New Mexico where, you know, if you can bypass some of the loopholes, then you can minimize state funding of that situation. So, but you're with you sent us some pictures or some images of
Yeah.
the Texas Liberty Foundation, which I think they're going to be showing up
Ooh, cool.
pretty soon. So tell us a little bit about the Texas Liberty Foundation. I mean, what's
Texas Liberty Foundation is a new organization. It's technically a PAC, it's 527. And its goal is to raise money to support certain issues and also to support candidates, mostly federal candidates, running for office in Texas. One of the ideas in one of our campaigns, we also have a Texas PAC as well for supporting local candidates. But one of our ideas is that Texas, you know, has its election relatively late in the season. So what we think we might be able to do is raise some Texas money to influence how the national elections go. Because, you know, especially the senatorial elections, every person who's elected around the country to the Senate makes a big difference for every state, really. You know, Ted Cruz is our senator, but what Ted Cruz does in Washington affects everybody around the country. Same is true of Lindsey Graham or, you know, John McCain, any of these guys. So we're hoping we could get some of the, you know, Texas money that doesn't really get to get spent effectively for Texas candidates and direct it outside the state to help some of these other candidates who might be worthy in other states. We're also going to be pushing issues in the next legislative session. We did some issue stuff this time. We were only just getting rolling when the legislative session started. We were pushing heavily for legalizing gambling, which was a waste of time.
it's going to come? I have a feeling
I
it's
think
going
it's
to
going
come.
to come too. I want to see Galveston turn into the next Atlantic City, except not as sucky as Atlantic City. Hopefully.
I'll have to disagree with you on that one. Isn't Strauss behind gambling too, though?
Well, he is kind of, but he can't because his family is
Yeah.
involved in it.
Okay, but on the
there it
background.
is.
All right.
Oh, look at that!
Well, I can understand like down here at Maynard Downs. Put you a
I
couple
live
of
in Maynard.
casinos there.
Yeah. We'd
And
love to have some casinos in
the
Manor.
problem I got with Galveston, you think about places like Atlantic City. Now, gambling almost ruined that place.
Well, it's all in how you look at it, you know.
Yeah, it is. But already Galveston, if you got memories like me of going to Galveston as a kid, took my old lady down there when we first got married for a little sea cruise on the, anyway.
Atlantic City, as long as you stay within a block of the water,
It was a
you're
different
fine.
place. And even now they got these tall apartment buildings and all that down in Galveston now. It's not the same little Texas seaside town it used to be.
How old are you?
58.
Not old enough. Up until 1952, gambling was legal. Was not legal, but it was not enforced in Texas. And Galveston had casinos.
And Texas had a population of 12 million in 19, how many?
Remember, Galveston has not grown since then, right? Galveston hasn't had the kind of economic growth the rest of the state has had.
Right.
Because
It's had a massive growth.
Not in a good way.
What's the name of that place we had in LaGrange? The chicken farm?
Chicken farm, yeah.
Chicken ranch.
It was happening.
Well, yeah, but see, that was on the ground.
Not just in LaGrange.
Underground? Who's underground?
Well,
Oh,
it
the
wasn't out in the
electric-
open.
As
somewhere.
long as they're paying their taxes, nobody's going to say anything here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you put in a couple of casinos in Galveston too. Why not?
That was
Why
a
not?
big economic boost for LaGrange.
I'm just thinking out here in Maynard, down there in Retina or Retina,
And
We're
you-
putting everything in Manor. You should see the construction's going on out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
a casino or two would be nice out there.
Closer to your place than mine. But
I
yeah.
will say for the first time, old Jesse got me, we went to Louisiana. And we went to 4 casinos out there in Lake Charles. And one of them really impressed me. It was a complete line, tennis, sport fishing, golf,
Resort casino.
yeah,
That's the way to make them work.
Well, you know, a lot of people.
everything.
A lot of people
And all the cars had Texas tags.
lot of
Nice
peop-
cars,
lot of
too.
They say 80%.
go to those convenience stores and play anyway.
Yeah, so why not give them a nice
The 8-liners.
Yeah.
restaurants?
so-
You had what is it, buffet lines.
How many billions of dollars are we losing?
I don't know, but as
Oklahoma,
long as you're
Louisiana.
playing,
2.5 billion a year.
you got free drinks.
That's money. Well, yeah.
You can sit on the jet, what's that machine, and get drunk.
Yeah.
So what's keeping your party from passing gambling?
You know, everybody's talking
Probably
about the whole
the
corrupt,
religious people or
alleged-
something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Actually, you know what it is?
But
Michael Quinn Sullivan, our friend at Empower Texans. They're very much pro-economic growth on every other issue except gambling because they're almost entirely funded by this one family that's very anti-gambling.
Wow.
And so that's influenced their policy in that area.
And it's a whole religious aspect that
Right, it's a really
gambling
conservative
corrupt.
thing. Yeah.
I used to work in the casinos back in the 90s.
that
Back
right?
in New Mexico? Or?
In Nevada, up in Reno, and I actually worked briefly in Sunland Park outside in New Mexico, which was a totally night and day comparison when it comes to how they handle the things. Now the problem that comes up with them is because of the laws that were placed in New Mexico to try to protect the residents and the people that gambled.
Yeah, they got those Louisiana too.
It makes it really difficult to actually kind of have fun. I mean, let's put it this way.
You can gamble, you can't have fun.
Well, let's put it this way. You have 24-hour gambling in Nevada. You go have fun. You lose your money. Okay, you lose your money. That was your choice.
Yeah.
You get into an accident. You get drunk. You go outside. You do whatever. That was your choice. The dram shop laws are just horrible. They're out there to try to protect the victim, so that they can go after the people that have the money, so that they can try to get a piece of that money.
Yeah, terrible.
And it makes it really difficult.
Well,
so like you have
We have that here in Texas, too.
We had a golden buzzard down there on in Eagle Pass. Why isn't that place more of a kickapoo? I call it the golden buzzard.
Well, it is an Eagle.
It's a class 3
It is an Eagle Pass.
casino.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Okay, there's no people
It was
down
packed
there.
when I was in there.
Well, yeah, but
And all they had was gambling and cards.
that's not the only one. And Eagle Pass is farther away from here than Lake Charles is.
I'm surprised they didn't have buses like Lake Charles does, but it's class 3. They didn't have all the, they didn't have the free drinks when you're at the slot machine.
You gotta have that.
People want to have basically when it comes to any casinos, they want to be able to have the slot machines where you can make the noise, even though a lot of them are moving away from that. You can put the money in there. Where you get the little tickets, you can see all the little spinny things that go on the
Yeah.
machines, and then with
The more you
occasional-
drink, the more you like to see
and
it.
then, yeah, exactly. And then of course you have the tables.
After a
Where
while, they're
people
not
will be
the
able to
things
have
in
fun
the
on that
machine
part.
that are spinning. It's you.
Exactly. But that's the whole fun. That's the whole.
That's what they like.
It's the whole experience, and it comes to individual self-control, where people have to say, okay, I've got to back away.
I was in Atlantic City once when I had a really bad cold, and I took cold medicine with dextromethorphan in it. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it can cause you to hallucinate. So I spent an entire weekend in Atlantic City hallucinating. And I would go out and see all the slot machines, and I'd just the lights would I'd be spinning around. Didn't gamble at all because I could barely stand up.
I still got my Lucky Buzzard card, to plug into the machine. I ain't been a Lucky Buzzard in a while. I ain't been down the border in a while. Doesn't look like I'm going anymore. I was wanting to make one last trip next weekend for dove hunting at the ranch. Anyway, we're getting off of.
So you're thinking that the gambling will. Do you think that through the Texas Liberty Foundation there'll be enough pressure to?
I don't know.
Prevent it?
There's money. There's money coming from outside the state. Groups like Penn National and others are putting up money to try to bring gambling into Texas. But they're not necessarily the guys who want to do it in the first place. And they backed off pretty early in this legislative session because they just didn't think they were going to get anywhere. There were some nice gambling bills, and there were ones that had been well thought out, that had reasonable restrictions on where you could put the casinos, and how you could do it, and to keep organized crime out and all that kind of stuff. Because one of the things that's very true about casinos is if you build a casino anywhere, it's not going to necessarily be a good idea. You got to have them built in the right places, like Galveston, where it's a resort type of
Or
environment.
down there at the racetrack in San Antonio.
Right, as long as it's someplace where you go and it's special, where it's not just on every street corner.
Like in Maynard.
Maynard Downs.
Right, well,
I don't know, Maynard Downs. There one or two out there, little one.
you ever go to Maynard Downs for races?
No, I've been there, but not for racing.
You went there to see the Grateful Dead?
No, I haul loads out there and
No.
trucking.
Yeah, well, they're not racing anymore because they couldn't make enough money.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A couple of a casino.
The casino, they wanted to be able to put video poker in there. That's enough to boost your revenues enough to keep someplace.
Think what they could do with a casino, some slot machines, a buffet bar.
Well, knowing the management of Maynard Downs, they could lose all that money no matter what you did for them. But it's the it's a 150-year-old racetrack. They were racing.
It's a historic.
Yeah, they raced. What was it? I've forgotten his name now. The famous Denton Mare, that the famous racehorse, they were conning people out of money on it. They raced there. This is back
Long
during the
history
Civil War
of
period.
screwing somebody over, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's a nice little track.
We never did show that PDF. We were going to talk about.
It popped up a while ago.
Oh, they
But
did?
there are other issues that we're working on too. I mean,
Yeah.
we want to. Texas should take the initiative on things like protecting our internet rights. And actually, there was some legislation passed this past session which did do that, which helped guarantee the privacy of people's email in Texas, stuff like that. That's very desirable because that's the area where the federal government really is falling down or really going against our rights. And if Texas can step up and protect our rights, because these are things that really should be protected under the Constitution, but no one pays attention to the damn Constitution.
Right.
If Texas can step up and say, the Constitution, the Texas Constitution, and our laws say that your rights are protected as far as your privacy goes, that's a really big accomplishment if Texas can sort of lead the way on that. Internet taxation is another one. Texas is kind of a tax haven for the internet right now because we don't charge tax on internet transactions. And there are guys in the legislature who wanted to change that. Didn't pass this time, but they're going to keep pushing that. California has it. California's lost a whole bunch of the business.
Yeah, we don't want
Amazon
that.
came here from California because they didn't want to be paying their taxes on the internet stuff.
And did we lose part of Amazon in Dallas?
It's all over the place now.
Okay.
They've got a center here in Austin too.
Really?
Yeah.
With 10 minutes left, I sure want to give you a chance to tell us about some of the most, what do you think was really significant this session, stuff like that. We need to have you on again.
What's significant, of course, about the legislature always is they never pass anything.
Probably good, huh?
Whatever they do pass, Perry vetoes. So, that seems to be the way it goes. Well, we were talking we were talking online before we got out here about the turf ratings. That's interesting. Turf, which is what the hell do they stand for?
Holy cow.
Texas. They're the guys who are against toll roads.
Yeah.
Terry Hall out of San Antonio. And they put out their legislative ratings. They sort of branched out into being against taxes in
Texas
general.
Remember for reform.
and freedom.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Reform and freedom.
But turf.
Ah, see, I can think.
That's right. I remember it better than I did. TURP is such a good acronym, it's easy to go with. Well, they put out their legislative ratings, and they're interesting, I think, because they're very focused on what they rated people on. And they basically rated people on how much they did to hit your pocketbook. And so they gave low ratings to people who voted for toll roads and who voted for taxation of one kind or another. And they gave high ratings to the few people who voted against everything that was going to spend money. So as you were saying, that some of the people you liked didn't really get good ratings.
Everybody I seen that I liked had F's.
Yeah.
Damn near. I think Toots did all right, or Toast, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I like him. Steve Toth?
Yeah, he's pretty good, and he got a B or something. So
Well, Giovanni Capriglione got an A or an A+. And Stickland got an A+, Capriglione got an A. They're both excellent. I mean, they sponsored a bunch of legislation, gun rights stuff and other things, all sorts of good stuff, none of which, of course, went anywhere. But they were very aggressive. And David Simpson got an A. We have a whole bunch of legislators, or freshmen or sophomore legislators, about 20 of them, who I think are really promising as far as, trying to cut back on government, put things under control, keep things more reasonable. Democrats probably aren't too happy with them, but I think they're really interesting. And they're trying to do things a little differently. And there are enough of them now that they're able to form a kind of a block to do things together and coordinate their activities to get some stuff passed. One of the things they're pushing heavily was open carry, of course. Another one which didn't make it. You'd probably support open carry.
I don't know what to think about all these laws. Now, we've had all these guys going with carrying their rifles around and getting arrested.
Yeah.
Well, they had a priest that did that.
But that's not illegal.
And I know it's not illegal,
A
but
priest that did that went to go eat, and
it's like
Now,
the provoking. This guy up here in the huddle, whatever it is, he doesn't live anywhere around there. And he's walking down the road with an AR-15 with a magazine in it slung over his rifle. It's legal.
With his teenage kid.
There's teenage kids, but still, you got neighbors out there, they start freaking out, they call the cops. What's the cops supposed to do?
Well, we have a problem in our neighborhood with pit bulls. We got 3 or 4 people a day walking around with a gun.
Oh, they're probably telling me to shut the hell up. Yeah, well, that's,
Well, I don't know if that's worse than
Well, I'm
having.
on Channel 11, too.
All right.
Well, I don't know if that's worse
Thank you.
than having
On Channel 11 for?
what 61-year-old man riding his bicycle in a G-string all over the
there's-
neighborhood.
I was listening to Jeff Ward the other day.
That's
Wait,
true. You got a
apparently
point.
there's
That's
two of
allowed,
those
but
guys
there's 2 of them. Yeah.
Oh my God.
that's true. That's allowed, but for me to go out there in my old
And they
AR,
called to complain because he used to ride before he got a couple of foots up his rear by the Little Leagues. And people called and the APD said, you know what, as long as he's got that thing covered, he's fine. You can't do anything to him.
but yeah, and then you kick his butt and you get thrown in jail.
Oh yeah, well,
Well,
from our end, if you take but from the
Well-
law perspective, he
Yeah,
was
from the law perspective, just like with the open carry on the rifle.
It just makes Austin more weird.
I don't see what's wrong with the open carry. But then again, like these guys with the rifle, I don't know. It's kind of mixed. I know that one case up in Hutto, he did provoke this cop pretty bad. I mean, just let the cop know, hey,
A lot of
I'm
people
not-
react that way. They know it's their right, so they push the cop. They try
Yeah.
to see how far they can push him.
And he didn't live up there. The neighbors didn't know him. He's walking around.
Well, remember
He's
that
in-
guy
he's in-
that
he's in Antonio.
the city filled his basement with cement? And
Yeah, we had a guy on the show who had guns, and they filled his basement with cement.
Well, you know, he was
An old Hispanic fella.
right, and he was
right.
he was riding on the highway recently,
Yeah.
and it ran into some what do you call those car rages or
Road rage.
road rage. So guess what he did?
Pulled his gun.
Pulled his gun out. He said within minutes, the IH-35 was about 7 or 8 cops surrounding him.
old Mexican fella with a gun. Yeah.
Oh, there's a big difference between riding with your gun in your car and whipping your gun out and pointing it at people.
there you go.
Well,
I like the
he's,
fact that they relaxed the law so you can now carry your gun in your car even if you're not going from county to county. That's an improvement, I think.
Well, in this case, because he was an old guy.
Yeah.
He's an old Hispanic man.
WW whatever veteran and
Yeah.
what was it, ranking general or something like that.
That's right. He had been a flag rank officer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And first they came out and they fill up his. He had him a little bunker.
Why did they do
Over in
that?
East Austin.
Was it some sort of building
Some
code
code
thing?
enforcement went
Code
crazy.
enforcement. They didn't like he had an M1 Grand, 1,000 rounds of APMO, and
Wow, cool.
you know, he used to
Sounds
be a
like
colonel or
something
something
for a
like
pretty
that.
good party.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Hurry up.
You know how the government gets historical every now and then. This a good case of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes they don't know where to draw the line, you know?
Yeah.
They got sometimes common sense just seems, they follow the rule
They
book.
can't do common
And
sense,
the rule
but
book
they'll
doesn't
get
let them
sued.
do any. Yeah, but sometimes you just wish that they would. I mean, I live in a small town. I live in Manor, right? The Manor cops know when to enforce the law and when not to enforce the law.
And I
Yeah,
love
we're
them
lucky.
for that.
Yeah, they're pretty good about
Especially when
that.
I'm leaving
I
at
know,
about
it's
31
got a
o'clock
story
from,
there.
from one of the local establishments. So I'm like,
Well, I know with Anthony Bueller, they got mad at me because I kept trying to blame. The Republicans want you to crack down on crime. When you do, the Democrats will sue you. Like this latest, we're getting off the subject
Can
because
we
I
talk
didn't
about
want to.
Wednesday real quick?
Oh,
Tomorrow?
yeah. Oh, we already talked.
Wednesday?
Did we talk about Wednesday?
10-1, the 10-1 redistricting committee meeting
That's right, man.
Wednesday.
Yeah, that is important
6:30.
stuff.
Uh,
That the fire hall up on Cameron Road, can we put it up?
too late.
Too late. What do you mean too late? Oh, well, if
Go to your City of
got 6
Austin
minutes.
page.
you got my shield flower, it's at the bottom of it.
Yeah,
Actually, 4.
yeah. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
They're going to start well, there have already been some maps submitted by different organizations.
And they, will we get to take a look at them out there on Wednesday?
Yes,
you think?
Yes. They'll be making, the UT students have come up with one. AGR is going to come up with one. Austin Neighborhoods Council come up with one. And Northwest Coalition of Neighborhoods has come up with one. And
then this committee that's got like 65 people on is going to.
then they're the ones that eventually going to come with out with the map.
Maybe we're gonna-
LULAC will also be submitting the map. So hey,
They will?
oh yeah, let's get
I
involved.
say the
in
Travis
part
County
of that.
Republicans should submit one.
They'll
just for the
be,
fun of it.
they're very involved in it.
Well, the Republican Party, like us, were part of that AGR. But in my
Which is,
opinion, I keep telling people AGR is dissolved because their mission's already been
Their whole mission was just to get it on the ballot.
Get it on the ballot.
Yeah,
Now
now
they-
they're still trying to be a part of it.
right now. They wanted to change that to
Well, they're a
a
non
power broker.
They're a nonpartisan group with all sorts of different people, and I think it'd be very hard for them to work out a single map. But maybe they come up with a good one because of that.
That's true. I always took pictures of Gonzales Barrientos and Roger Beauregard. You know, two people you'd never think would work together. I sure wanted to hit Dave up more about outreaching for libertarians and Republicans to come together so that we don't have another Toby Miller. But we're going to run out of time here in like 2 minutes.
We can always do it again.
We can always do it again.
Yeah, but I
think
just
we
look at
had
my calendar. I'm
after
full up
September-
till.
Yeah, after September.
Yeah,
9th.
we have no show next month. We have your friend on for next week.
September 9th.
September 9th is your friend on. September 16th will be the state reps about the end of session. And after that is Travis County Taxpayers Union.
Good.
That'll leave one
Well,
show left for
you got lots
September.
of good shows. You don't need me.
No, we always need you. Nothing personal, you understand.
I'm not going anywhere, so just whenever
Okay.
you got.
Well, I appreciate you on this time. I know it was short notice. Dr. Laura Presley was going to come on and talk about the big time budget for the Austin Energy, but her daughter decided to have a grandbaby for her, and so that took that off real quick.
How dare she?
Congratulations.
Oh my God! How dare?
Hey, we want to go back for one second to the legislative session.
Quickly.
There was a bill in the legislature
You got till it says 5830.
to get rid of Austin Energy and make it into an actual
Yes.
public utility.
Yes.
That didn't pass either, of course. But they just used the damn thing for a slush fund to balance their budget.
ASD's got how much a budget coming up? $1 billion budget, I heard.
Oh yeah. Well, you know that because of Austin
Got a
Energy,
minute.
we're in a monopoly.
Right.
And outside of that, there's a lot of companies that are providing electricity to customers at a half the rate that Austin Energy. Austin and San Antonio are the only two monopolies in the state of Texas for
I don't live in Austin.
30 seconds.
That rate that they put in there, killing people.
I don't live in Austin. The people across the street from me can get Blue Bonnet. I'm stuck with Austin Energy.
Really?
25.
I got Blue Bonnet. I'm happy.
Yeah, you're down the other
What with
side.
Ambit? I signed up with Ambit.
No show next week. We'll be back on the 9th with
La Fuente
La Fuente.
Learning Center.
So there's lots coming up.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Thank you very much, David Nall, for being here with us. We really
Yeah,
appreciate
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Anyway, 5 seconds.
And we're bringing him back on again, right?
Yeah, maybe at the end of September.
All right, you guys take care.
All right.
All right.
There we go.
Maybe on September 16th.